All right, I'm back with another one. We at the halfway point now, folks. Westworld season 4, episode 4. I think we only got 4 episodes left, and this episode was a hell of an episode. Hell of an episode, man. Without any time wasting, let's get to it, man. I don't even know what's it. This is called Generation Lost, and they ain't lying about that. Now, the description is: should all old acquaintance be forgot, and days of auld lang syne. Oh, that's the lyric from the New Year's thing. Should old acquaintance be forgot, and days of auld lang syne? I don't know what they talking about. I have to research that. In the comments, tell me what they talking about with that. That's the thing about this show. It always keep you thinking. But first things first, man, we got to see Teddy and Dolores. We got to see we got to see a good old Teddy and Dolores scene that brought us back to Westworld. First thing we saw. And if you notice, Dolores dropped something and Teddy picked it up for her before they sat down and started talking. That was a call back to Westworld, where it started the loop where Dolores would drop a can on the ground and Teddy would pick up the can, and that would start the loop. So that was a nice little touch. And we got to see them talk to each other, and Teddy, they both look at each other talking about, don't I know you from somewhere? And then Teddy, he talked about how he used to be a bounty hunter back in the day and all that. It was a great call, It was a great little call. And we got to see, those flies and the parasite in action. So basically, we got to see that, the parasites in the humans. That's how they control humans, through the parasite. So you got to see in the park, the whole purpose of the park, of the 1920 park, Art Deco. Matter of fact, I think I'm dressed in Art Deco style. I'm dressed for the park. I'm finna go to the park, the 1920 park. I'm dressed and ready to go, as you can see. Now, the purpose of the park, Hale created the park, right? So that she could use the park to spread the parasite. See, these theme parks, I'm not fooling with Disney World, man. After watching Westworld, because Westworld, the first original Westworld, they created that park to take people's DNA. The cowboy hats was scanning people's brains and making copies of them. Now we got this park held and created. She using it to take flies and use the flies to put parasites in people, so the people can take the parasite and infect the world, so she can control the world, which later on we see what happens if she succeeds. I'm telling you, stay away from Six Flags and Disneyland. I'm telling you now. The homeless man. All right, remember the homeless man that we were seeing that was scribbling the tower? That was scribbling the picture of the tower, which is the tower that Hale will go on to create to send out the signal to control people. Because if you notice, Hale, she had some little mini towers inside of Westworld. She had some little mini towers inside Westworld. So that's why when Hale and Kayla were trying to get out of there, them people, she got the humans to start shooting at them and controlling them when they were trying to escape the park. I probably called it No, it's not Westworld. It's called Gangland. My bad, Gangland. So the homeless man is what I think is considered an outlier. Okay, which means that he doesn't get infected by the parasite. If you remember the previous time when in Westworld, where the humans were controlling the robots, Maeve is what you consider an outlier robot, where she resists her programming and does her own thing. So in this system, where the robot Hale is controlling the humans, they have outliers. It looks like that homeless man that's sitting in the street, that we harken back to him, that keeps rambling on about the tower and the frequency that it sends out. he's an outlier. And I think Caleb is an outlier too, because, well, let's go on to that scene. That scene where Caleb at the quarry, at the rock quarry, that's what I'm gonna call it, right? And Maeve goes and sacrifices herself, and she can control them electronics. So she sets the electronics and she blows up the robot version of the Man in Black. Okay, and I'm pretty sure that's a robot version of the Man in Black. That's not the real Man in Black. Okay, so Caleb noticed when Hale told Caleb to pick up the gun and go outside and shoot Maeve, he at the last minute he pointed the gun at the Man in Black and shot the Man in Black. So Caleb could be an outlier too. Just like the homeless man, I'm thinking Caleb was an outlier. Or is. I'm using them in the past tense. Is Caleb really gone? Anyway, I'm going to say that for predictions. So Caleb is probably what you call an outlier too, because Hale got mad and like, why did you resist my programming? Which brings us to that what Caleb ended up dying. Caleb thought he was talking to his men, but he was really talking to Hale's men. Hale's men come in there and kill Caleb. And then we get transitioned 23 years into the future where Hale is running tests on Caleb. Just like the Man in Black used to run tests on his father-in-law. Remember what his episode was, season 3, I think, maybe season 2, where Man in Black was running tests on copies of his father-in-law, the founder of Delos Company. So we have Hale running tests on copies of Caleb. See? So what we find out is she was just putting Caleb back into the scenario, reliving the scenario, the copy of him, and we were running tests on copies of Caleb. I think she said he's like the 75th version of Caleb. And remember, Man in Black was telling his father-in-law, you're like the 200th version except or whatever. But what you notice with Man in Black's father-in-law, every time they made a copy, he just got worse and worse. And that's what happens. When you make copies of things, it loses quality from the original. It's less quality of the original. And that's why probably going forward, this version of Caleb that we see is probably not going to be as sharp as the Caleb before. You know, maybe he'll pick up some skills along the way. Okay, so May blew up the rocks, and they're all buried in the rocks. And then we fast forward, to 23 years in the future, where Hale she's programming Caleb, right? Okay, she's programming the 75th version they created of Caleb, I think. All right. So what about the rock quarry with Bernard? Right? Look at the woman in this picture right here. Okay. So what about this woman right here in the picture? We find out who she is, right? So at the rock quarry, not the rock quarry. Well, it is rock quarry, really, but it looks like a desert now. 23 years in the future, you got Bernard, and he say there's a weapon buried, and this woman right here, something is telling her to give Bernard a chance. So she get Bernard there. They digging it. They got this big ass fan blowing the sand out the way, and we don't know like what this weapon is, right? And they're digging, and as he's digging, he's saying, "Your father, you want to see your father's body and all that." And Bernard gets down in there, and it's not his father, it's not her father's body, but it's the weapon, Maeve. So we know there's Maeve down there, and it's probably gonna be the man in Black robot gonna be buried under there too. So that tells us who she is. That is Caleb's daughter. That's his daughter. What's his daughter's name? What's her name? Frankie, right? Well, she called C. They say her name is C on here, but that's Caleb's daughter. She's called C. Maybe that's not. That might. Yeah, that gotta be Caleb's daughter. Well, that's gotta be Caleb's daughter, man. Yeah, that's gotta be his daughter. But that's Caleb's daughter. So this is finna get real crazy. This is finna get crazy. So it looks like Caleb, in a way, he's gonna reunite with his daughter, a copy of himself at least. And the world that hell created, right? I mean, we get to see that. Okay, we got Christine, which looks like just she looks like Dolores, basically, and this whole world, it looks like a future New York, and we were speculating that it might be a park, but it's looking like the world. It's basically the world that hell created. Remember when Caleb ran out? She was testing Caleb. He ran out the building. The building name was Olympia or whatever. They got the logo that looked like Delos, and that's the same company that Christine works for. The version of the woman that looks like Dolores. That's the company that she works for, and it's obvious now that she's creating stories for the humans. That's Christine's job. She creates stories for the humans. So hell basically created her to create stories for the humans. And Christine is living with a human. Remember the black girl, the human that lives with Christine? The girl that looks like Dolores? Remember the girl was talking about a story about when she was a child and the flies came and attacked them. They were at a picnic and the flies attacked her parents. Then the flies came and attacked her. Well, that was the flies. That was hell's parasite coming and getting into all of them. And she thought about that. That happened probably like 23 years ago. See? It's all coming together. We're halfway through. It's all coming together. They know what they're doing. But yeah, this looks like a future New York, but you can see outside when they did the outside shot of Manhattan, you see the big old tower that they built outside of Manhattan. It looked like they tore down the Statue of Liberty and put the tower in place of it. There's your liberty. Hey, think about that. They tore down the symbol of liberty and freedom and put a tower there to control you. Message. But let's go on to predictions. All right, so going forward, this is going to be interesting, man. We're going to see what's going. Like, this is really going to be interesting. So the Man in Black, I think the real version of the Man in Black will come back. We saw that it looks like hell is keeping him captive at the facility. The real him, it looked like she revived him and brought him, which that makes sense because that explains why she's able to make such good copies of him, because some kind of way she revitalized the real version of him so that when she make a copy, she make it directly from the real version of the Man in Black. So is the Man in Black going to come back, and is he going to join the rebels in some kind of way of overthrowing hell's regime, the control that hell has? We'll have to wait and see. Which makes me wonder, does hell also have the real version of Caleb stored down there? Okay, if she got the real version of the Man in Black, she probably got the real version of Caleb stored down there. So the 70 copies of Caleb that she made, maybe she kept making them from the original version. So are we going to see the original version of Caleb come back? We'll have to wait and see. I think it's possible. Maeve, on the other hand, she's the big weapon that can end all this. I think that they're saying that because Maeve has a way to mess with, she can control electronics. She can hack into systems and take stuff over. That might be the way that Maeve destroys the towers. She might be able to some kind of way activate an explosion or get up in the electronics and destroy the towers. I don't know. All I know is I'm excited to see what comes next. HBO does it again, folks. Another great show. They did it again. Big thumbs up to HBO. And guess what? Let me tell you something. You still here. And because you still here, that makes you a real one. So this is what I want you to do. Do me a favor. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Share this with a friend. Help me out in the comments. This stuff is so groundbreaking. I mean, this stuff is so deep, and the writers do such a good job. I can't catch everything. Can't none of us catch everything. And I'll be back with another one. Until next time.